In a two-decade-long career, Juan Sebastián Verón helped some of football's most iconic sides win the biggest prizes in the sport. But what happens if you move him age 32 to Major League Soccer? What impact can he have there? And just like that, Veron has arrived in North America. Despite his advancing years, he's still an absolutely formidable footballer. Those technical qualities are indisputable. In reality, during the 2009 season, he'd registered 14 goals and assists with Estudiantes as he helped the Argentine side win its first Copa Libertadores title in nearly 40 years. And he hasn't just been successful in South America. The Argentine midfielder has won trophies at basically every club he's played for, but his form with Lazio and Parma really stand out. Against the odds winning a Serie A title in Rome and a UEFA Cup with the latter. This time around, though, he's not going to have a supporting cast with the likes of Nesta, Nedved, and Simeone. Jesse Marsch is amongst the leading players with Chivas. Already a 3 times MLS Cup champion, his experience in the midfield will be invaluable. Likewise, Sasha Kaleshjan, the US men's national team midfielder, would have a decent career, making over 50 appearances for his national team and winning 3 back-to-back league titles with Anderlecht in Belgium. In 2009, the Californian side would have a successful league finish in the Western Conference, placing second. After such a strong league campaign, Chivas entered the playoffs with confidence, only to lose in the conference semi-finals 3-2 on aggregate to Real Salt Lake. But now, with a significant upgrade in the midfield, it will be interesting to see what this team can do. Let's move through the season and see what happens. But it would be far from a fairy tale debut. On the road in Texas, FC Dallas would comfortably win in the Argentines' first taste of MLS football. A week later, and they'd bounce back with 3 points. Veron opens the scoring before setting up another late on. I think it's fair to say that this era of Major League Soccer was dominated by the arrival of David Beckham. His inclusion in LA Galaxy's squad led to an entire overhaul of the rules related to salaries and registrations. For 2 years, the Englishman would share the dressing room at Manchester United with Juan Sebastian. Their final year together would culminate in them lifting a Premier League title, but now in North America, they'll face off for the very first time. The Englishman would find the back of the net first. Some very questionable marking sees Beckham running behind. He shows that elite composure to beat the keeper, which would be the game's only goal. For the 3rd time in the opening 5 matches, Chivas have been on the end of a defeat. Whilst the results hadn't been great so far, Veron was becoming more and more instrumental in his new side, scoring on the rebound in a 2-0 win against DC United. 3 weeks later, on the road in New York, he'd provide another 2 assists in another win. George Flores finds space on the edge of the box and beats the keeper from range. Wins were proving to be nothing more than sporadic. 5 points out of the next 15 would follow, before another defeat was inflicted by the Galaxy. At the midway stage of the season, Chivas are sitting down in 6th place in the Western Conference standings. With the top 4 sides progressing to the playoffs, they're only 10 points down on a qualification spot. To have any chances of making up that ground, they're going to need a strong close to the season. And the Argentine would keep making an impact on the field, before encountering another recognisable player from English football, Darren Huckabee. Best known for his spells with Man City and Norwich, he'd score integral goals in each side's promotions in 2002 and 2004 respectively. Fast forward 5 years later though, and he's also out in California with the San Jose Earthquakes. Within 3 minutes, Veron would get on the score sheet, finding himself in an unlikely position in the centre of the box. A lovely finish follows that puts Chivas ahead 1-0. After dominating the opening 30 minutes, the dismissal of Jim Curtin in the defence would lead to a San Jose resurgence. Huckabee scores the equaliser and the points are shared. Juan Sebastian's next goal would arrive a month later. Visiting the New England Revolution, his side trailed by 2. He'd score nothing more than a consolation with 5 minutes remaining. His final contribution of the season would come from the penalty spot, in yet another defeat to the Colorado Rapids. In all, Veron would play 38 games in all competitions this season, registering 21 goals and assists. Aside from creating, he showed a great tenacity in the defensive side of the game, winning 131 tackles in the midfield over the course of the year. On another positive note, he was also perfect from the penalty spot, finding the back of the net 6 times. His 8 assists were enough to rank him joint 5th in the competition's rankings. But where did Chivas finish in the league table? It would be a truly terrible season, finishing rock bottom of the Western Conference standings. Compared with reality, they'd accumulate 19 less points, score 13 less goals, and concede 16 more. He'd taste victory just 5 times during the course of the entire year, nowhere near good enough form to ensure a playoff spot. Juan Sebastián Verón was one of the most iconic players of the late 90s and early 2000s. His elite form in Italy led him to being the most expensive transfer in English football history. Sadly, that move didn't work out, and likewise here in North America, it would be a similar story.